Hi, Joyce Erb, guest designer with Cut at Home. I'll be showing you crafting tips for people with weak and challenged hands, and also other techniques and products will be explored for all. Today's graduation card will be made using the Crazy Birds by Tim Holtz, Stampers Anonymous, and also Crazy Things. And the coordinating die will be using the graduation hat and a bow tie. We'll be doing a standard size card, which is 4 by 5 1/4, which I will later trim down smaller. So I'm stamping it. I've already stamped it once with the nautical blue Memento ink, and I used that little piece of scrap there, and I prepared it with the embossing buddy anti-static tool because we're using Versamark here to stamp over top of the blue. It's in the exact same position, so basically we are just adding a layer of the sticky ink right on top of the same stamped image. This now allows me to emboss the blue. I'll be using Ranger Superfine clear embossing powder. Then I will use my heat gun and emboss this off screen. I just want to show you this real quick. I made this file. It says Grad 2016, and it's on a piece of toner paper, which is basically just black printed onto cardstock on a laser printer. We'll be doing some foiling later. Here I'm just showing you the embossed images and the image hat prepared for cutting. I also got my Google Eyes out. This is the text cut out, and this is the foil that I'm putting on top of it. Shiny side, or the pretty side up, and then I just cover it with the carrier sheet, and this will be run through my ink machine. I'll be coloring with the Inktense pencils, watercolor pencils by Derwent. I'll be using a silver velvet brush, and here I just did a test of the colors that I'm using. 2 different shades of blue and a green. And real quick, I just want to show you the gold foiled letters. 2 came off, so I'll just show you those 2. And then just get them out of the way for now. And we'll start with the bird. This is so easy. I rarely use these pencils, and I need to pull them out more. This is Canson cold press watercolor paper. And I'm just taking the darkest blue that I'm using and putting it along the outside edges. These stamps are wonderful because they already have the shading built into the stamp. Actually, that was the lighter color. Now I'm going in with the darker color. I'm not laying it on real heavy. I don't have a lot of strength, so I don't push real hard, but you don't want to push real hard anyways because you don't want to break down the paper. Now I'm just coloring in the center. When I say break down the paper, I mean you don't want to remove the tooth from the paper. Now what I did there is I dip it in the water, and I'm coloring just the green for now because I don't want to get too much blue in it. Then I go from the darkest and pull in. That keeps the darker concentration at the edge. I'm not pulling in too far yet because I don't want to bring the dark blue all the way in. I'm being careful here because I'm not cutting this image out. So I need to stay within the lines. The embossing definitely helps you stay within the lines. Now I'm blending the edges of the blue in with the green. I take my fingers after I dip my brush and just wipe off a little bit of the water so it's not too overly wet. That's basically all there is to coloring the bird itself. Goes pretty quickly. This is my general layout. This is what I decided on. I'm using a gold mirror paper that I'm putting behind some black and white polka dot glittered cardstock. That came from a pack that I've got from DCWV. And here I'm just using 2 shades of orange. An orange and a rust. Now I'm just blending the 2 colors together. I'm using a red on the bow tie. For the hat, I'm using a dark gray. This is the lighter of the 2 grays that I'm going to use. And I'm blending it out, and it isn't really blending on this paper very well. There's also a lot of embossing right in that area. I'm coming in with a darker color, and I'm trying to blend it, and this is not going to work. So I just set it aside and let it dry. So I try out the Google Eyes. These are actually the bigger ones from that mixed package that I've got. And I pulled out my Copics. I'm using 3 Copics on that little tiny thing. I used a R46, R37, and R17, I believe. So I go in with the darkest first, then the medium, and then the light. I'm doing the same thing for the hat. I'm going in with the C's, and I start with C9, which is pretty dark, and then C7, C5, and C3, I believe. And I usually start with dark and go to the lightest. And I did that 2 times on the hat. What would be fun on the graduation card is, if you know the school colors, would be to color the bird in the school colors. All that there is left to do now is to assemble the card. Well, here's the finished card. I glued all the layers down, added the foiled elements, added the little bow tie and hat, and it's ready to go. There's also a sentiment on the inside. The product links and written instructions are all at the Cut at Home blog. And the featured products today are Tim Holtz Crazy Birds, Crazy Things stamps, and dies. Have a great day.